Hi everyone and welcome to Cornwall in the UK for our live Sony Xperia XZ food photography tutorial. I'm James Strawbridge and this is David Griffin.
Hi everyone.
We're here in David's studio to talk about food photography and how you can get better at taking shots of food when you're out and about with your smartphone. Firstly though, David, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into food photography?
Sure, thank you James. So a long time ago in Australia, after high school, I was following a career in hospitality, working in kitchens. I really felt at home there. I took a little break from the kitchen and went travelling with a camera and some black and white film, lots of black and white film, and just fell in love with photography. And so I followed that. Quite some time later, the two came back together. I've now been shooting food professionally for about 15 years. I shoot a lot of restaurants, both in the UK and around the world. I shoot for some great food brands, and I also do a lot of cookbooks. I do those cookbooks on location or here in the studio in Cornwall.
That sounds cool. And today we're going to be talking a lot about the Sony Xperia XZ, which is packed with technology to actually help you take amazing food pictures in lots of different conditions. So David's got top tips for you, and our chef, Jamie, is going to be preparing beautiful subjects for us to test the camera out on. If you've got any comments or questions, just post them below, and David's going to get back to you with some pro tips. So David, let's start with the basics. Since I work a lot with food, I'm always taking snaps of dishes I've created or capturing a picture of something tasty before I eat it. But how do I get my pictures to really pop and look as delicious as they do just before I want to eat them?
Sure, thank you, James. Well, for me, I like to use available light. So Jamie's set up a pie over here.
Looks delicious.
We've placed it by the window.
Yeah.
And we've got some lovely kind of light coming through. Now, this light from the window, we're quite close to it, is a side light. And so it's kind of flowing across the food. You've got some highlights on one side. Sometimes the shadows can be a little bit much. Yeah. And so we drop in a reflector just to kind of push the light back into the food. But that's one way to shoot. Another way is called backlighting, where we shoot into the light. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
But the side lighting is really important. Now, the Sony's great for working with food because you can access the camera very quickly and actually grab a shot.
Just press a button and it comes
press
up.
a button, bang. We've already got one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's a dedicated capture button there. I've got this set up in Superior Auto mode. Superior Auto mode is where the camera really does the heavy lifting. Now, you can see down in the bottom corner here, it says gourmet.
Yeah, a little knife and fork.
Little knife and fork, yeah, sweet. The camera recognises the subject, it analyses the subject, and then it decides, well, I'm going to use that particular mode. So what we'll do is we'll grab a few more shots.
And how do you focus, like, on the...
Yeah, focus, you touch the screen, and it gives you a yellow box, okay? And that's object tracking. So you can see, as I'm moving the camera around, it's staying in focus.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very, very clever. So that helps you to avoid blur and give you nice sharp pictures.
Well, that's actually something I was going to ask you about. When I'm using my smartphone, one of the biggest issues I have is movement. Like how do I take a picture without it ending up blurry and distorted when you're trying to capture a bit of movement? Yeah,
sure. So you can use that object tracking. What we're going to do to demonstrate that is we're going to shoot into the light, so the backlighting. Yeah. So looking at the camera here, when we point it, the light level drops because you're backlit. So if you go into manual mode, it gives you the option of these little sliders here. And this gives you all of the control over the camera. It's kind of like looking inside the hood of the car, the boot of the hood of the car. So you can go down, or you can go up. So you can overexpose. So when you're backlit, you really want to overexpose. You're exposing for the shadows. Yeah. So we'll go down low here. Maybe give it just a little bit more. There we go. So the background is completely blown out now. Yeah. Okay.
So all of that focus is on the front. And do you want me to actually pour it on?
Yes, please. Yeah. So what we'll do, we've got the object tracking on the Pi right now.
Yeah.
But when you're ready with the paw,
Okay.
we're going to tap the paw. Yeah. Up a
So
little higher.
are you sort of focusing? Where are you going?
Yeah, there we go. Go, paw. Let's do it. Yeah. So we're focused on the paw, and we'll grab some shots. Lovely. Hold nice and still for me. Keep pawing.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Wow.
Okay. So it finds the point of focus and it stays there. It gives you a nice sharp shot.
And so that's how you get things in focus if they're moving, which sounds excellent. I suppose now's a good opportunity for us to take some of your food photography questions that we've been getting on our social channels this morning. So let's have a look at one of these. Ayan on Facebook, hi Ayan, asks, if I've already started eating, can I still make my food look good?
Sure. It's a very good question. It really depends on what you're eating. Sometimes it pays just to finish the dish and the empty plate of food can actually look quite beautiful. Or if you're thinking about things kind of before you start, something like a chocolate fondant or a creme brulee, when you actually kind of break into that and reveal the texture inside, that can look more beautiful than when it arrives at the table.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Right, so with the essentials figured out, I've now got a bit of a burning question. How do I take a really good, perfect food shot in a dimly lit restaurant?
Sure. So over here in the kitchen, Jamie's got us set up.
Hello, Chef. How you doing?
Hello.
Wow.
So we've got a lovely seafood. Thank you, Jamie. We've got a lovely seafood dish here that Jamie's put together for us. I get asked that question a lot by food bloggers. Yeah, how do I photograph my food in a restaurant discreetly? Yeah. And getting some good low light shots. This camera, when it's set up in Xperia Auto mode, will give you good true to life colour. Yeah. What you need to do is you go into the settings here, just this little cog, and then you have resolution. So you set that on 8 megapixels, okay? And that just gives you some really lovely, gives you some really lovely.
It's still capturing all of the colour, even without this.
Absolutely. Good colour, nice and sharp. And we'll grab some shots. So even in this low lighting condition, you can see the colour is fantastic and everything's nice and crisp.
That's amazing. Fantastic. I really feel like I'm actually now starting to get a lot of good ideas about how to improve my food photography. Should we take another couple of questions?
Sure.
Charlotte on Instagram is asking, what's the trickiest type of food to photograph?
Okay, chocolate can be quite difficult. Again, it's about looking for the texture of chocolate. It can be quite dark, so you need to move it around. If it's raw chocolate, break it open and reveal that texture. Or if it's kind of melted chocolate, move it around, move it to some side light and look for the gloss of the chocolate.
Cool, okay. And finally, Mohammed on Facebook wants to know how you make food look extra delicious. Have you got any special tips?
So again, it really is about observing the food and looking at how the lighting falls on the food. Sometimes you might need to move it to a different spot. And it's also about composition. I'm a big fan of kind of keeping things simple, taking stuff out of the shot rather than adding to it.
Okay, well that's all what we've got time for now, I'm afraid. So a massive thank you to David.
You're welcome.
For your time and for giving us all those amazing tips. And also a big thanks to our chef Jamie for cooking up a storm in the kitchen. I have to say I can't wait to eat some of this as soon as we're finished. And to you for tuning in and sending all your questions. If you want to find out more about this Sony Xperia XZ, then please visit sonymobile.com. Goodbye.
Thank you.